Stuff on the side guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday or 5 and WB Network, Rumble X, YouTube, all that. Check us out, subscribe, of course. We'll join the Mighty Met KMET 1490 at the bottom of the hour as we usually do. Kelly Victory's off on vacation this week, so she will be back with us hopefully next Monday. We'll get into all the great revelations, as they say, of that. Oh, the truck smashing by a train is very interesting, but the lead story is the government shutdown over. Well, it certainly seems so. It's just got to go through one more hoop in the Senate and then a signature by Donald J. Trump. But after the 8 Democrats said no mas, it's basically over. The government should be back up and running at its full efficiency and dysfunctionality as it usually does in full order. I still think they should have kept the shutdown going till the end of the year. They could have funded essential jobs, even the air traffic controllers if they wanted to. But they were playing, chicken bleep games over there. But it did give the Trump administration, they did cave back some of the firings and layoffs are coming back that Russ Vought, who, as Senator Mike Lee said, was dreaming of since puberty, being able to do all this stuff, basically rescinded. But they got a deal. Again, it's going to be less than 2 months. We're going to be back in this budget fight again. So don't put away the popcorn machine. It'll be back in about 2 months. We'll have to go through this whole rigmarole all over again. Isn't this politics is extremely fun. Get to some of the particulars going on of that, but as this one's interesting. Dude was backing up and forth on his truck. And this is going on, at least the tape is from KTLA 5 for about a minute. We got to get to the pertinent stuff quickly. As you can just see out of the corner, you see that yellow dot coming. That's a train getting ready to blow through this tractor trailer playing FAFO. I don't know if he was playing chicken or what he was doing on the railroad tracks. Here you go. Kaboom! There it is. And the train wins every time. Here you see some of it. I mean, the truck comes up. He's over. He backs up. I don't know what he was doing. Again, I don't know if he was playing chicken with the train or what his trip was. But as you see, here's the final genre. The train wins again. What a sight. Just goes to show, never underestimate your fellow man, especially when it comes to stupidity. The other breaking news we had was the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, actually the biggest broadcaster over the airways television, I think, in the world. They also have the biggest tabloid newspaper and print newspaper. The Daily Mail's the biggest. So London's got 2 of the biggest. But they edited Trump's BBC J6 tape to make it undisparaging on him. Unlike the opposite when CBS cut the tapes to make Kamala Harris look good, which is 111% impossible. Here's a little bit from gbsnews.com. Here we go.
It's the biggest story in town. It turns out American President Donald Trump was onto something.
Where are you from?
BBC.
Here's another beauty.
It's a good line. Impartial, free and fair.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. And that's why Trump goes after these guys on the press corps, fake news and all that. Because now we have the deal of where they were. We'll get more into this later on in the show. But they were definitely altering tapes. Now a couple of the muckety-mucks are resigning. I don't think that's enough punishment. Trump says if they don't apologize and do some big mea culpas, he's suing them for $1 billion. And I hope he does. Man, we got some trouble in River City. A lot of this, we'll get into the budget and how you can balance the federal budget, even though it's 2 trillion out of shape, upside down in the red sideways. That and this homeless stuff, the vagrants. Little story on Fremont, but it kind of dovetails into everything here. Again, we'll kind of tie her all up together in one nice little bow, of course. Bernard Sanders had a humongous meltdown over his Democratic colleagues. He says betraying healthcare and millions. You thought the scare tactics were bad in COVID. Holy.
And that the way the process has been developed, it is impossible to delay the votes that are going to take place. And if that were not the case, that is certainly what I would do. Because I think it is important that the American people fully understand what is being voted on today. Everybody in America knows that our current healthcare system is broken. It is dysfunctional. It is cruel. It is by far the most expensive healthcare system in the world, and the only healthcare system of any major country that does not guarantee healthcare to all people as a human right.
It is also by far, especially since Obamacare, which this guy voted for, the most expensive. Again, as a lot of us said, yours truly, they get coined the phrase, you're going to pay 3 times as much for half the health care, which is 111% of all government programs. This is not rocket science. We know how it's going to turn out. We'll get into a little bit. Somebody made a chart. I think old Elon reposted it. Assholes per capita per industry. Bet you can't wait for that one. This is some sad news. This 2025 will be the last year of the publication of the Farmer's Almanac. Another tradition going down the drain. And I say, it's a sad day when the Farmer's Almanac will no longer be a publication. Rest in peace, Farmer's Almanac. It's the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States Marine Corps. So happy anniversary, all you Marines, on 250. And tomorrow, don't forget, is Veterans Day. And a few the government will be shut down, at least federal government mostly, because it will be Veterans Day tomorrow. So keep that in mind. If you think government was efficient, you're in for a rude awakening. Get some of the local stories and more, the rest of the show Here we go. One of the things I want to touch on is how government F's everything up. And it's even if it's the greatest intentions, healthcare being one of them. We had a perfectly fine healthcare system. You took care of most of your stuff. If you had to go to the hospital or you had you had a broken leg or got in a car accident or they gave you the bad news, you got stage 4 pancreatic cancer or something, you had a heart attack, you went into the hospital and they did that. I'll take my dad's example. In 1971, February 1st, Ontario Sportsman 250 had it. Speedway crashes, damn near kills him, except he was pronounced dead. Most people don't know this. He was pronounced dead back there in 71. Anyway, he spent a week well, I think 3 days in intensive care and a whole week in the hospital. The whole bill was like $1,000, $1,100. The whole week, a little over 50 years ago. Now you can't get an appointment without getting charged for all this stuff. And the whole thing they're hanging the healthcare up on, or they were, this subsidy, that we've had to have. That money is not going to your healthcare. That is going to the insurers that the government is paying from you to the government, to these insurance companies who are jacking the prices of everything through the roof. It's not buying a Band-Aid. It's not buying a stent because you ate too many Twinkies and now your arteries are plugged. Whatever. This is what has went 152,000% haywire in our system. But, as Roy is in 101, no matter how well intentioned every government, 98.7% of all government programs winding up in grave corruption and failure. As Bernie will say, we paid $9 gazillion, highest healthcare costs. Obamacare was supposed to cover everybody and drop the cost, which was a total freaking lie. Anybody, even as poor an education as we're giving our students today, most of them could figure out that was gaslighting BS. We think we're going to sell, we think you are so dumb you're going to buy this stupid. Anyway, this gentleman was on it. Here we go.
You can get a plumber to your house in the middle of the night within an hour. But if you go to the ER, you could wait 6 hours. Why? The federal government never tried to make plumbing affordable and accessible. You can buy an 85-inch television for $1,000, but a dialysis machine costs $30,000. Why? The federal government never tried to make televisions affordable and accessible.
1,111% correct. We're going to make it for Bernie was saying, we're going to simplify. We're going to simplify everything. HGA, now it's single payer Medicare style. Government runs everything. That's going to make it even better. They fouled it up to this point. Took a perfectly good system and fouled it up. Now they're going to be the savior to fix it again. Bernie Sanders, senator from Vermont, leader of the Democrat Socialists of America with Ma'am Danny and AOC and the whole crew, they think you're a bleeping idiot. And so far, they've been right. The elections in Virginia, California, and New Jersey prove that a vast majority of the Americans are stupid. They're buying stupidity. They're telling you that it's going to rain gold out of the sky. And you're saying, oh, please, when?
You can get LASIK surgery done for $1,500 because it's not covered by Medicare or Medicaid because it's elective. But if you get a major surgery, it could cost you $100,000. Why? The federal government never tried to make LASIK affordable and accessible.
LASIK surgery. If you had to go through the government, get LASIK, that's where they correct your vision. You know, if you got Coke bottle glasses, pretty soon you have X-ray vision. It would cost probably 50 grand. You can go down there, 1,500. If you wanted to have LASIK surgery, 1,500 bucks, and you qualify. You know, the guy says, "Yeah, Doctor Strangelove or whatever says, yeah, I can fix you up, 1,500 bucks, and you'll have Superman vision."
Socialism is killing every industry it touches.
Socialism, communism, whatever ism. I got to get to the old 40s. I got to find it. In the 40s, they had a deal about isms. It was, man, that needs to run in every school, on every TV station, mandatory that you got to watch it. Should be on in the Super Bowl halftime, and you cannot start watching the second half. It will not play on your device, your new electronic device y'all worship. It will not play on it until you watch the ism tape from the 40s. Oh, would that be a rude awakening for many? But that guy is absolutely right. I don't know. He's posted on the Declaration of Memes. I don't know if that was the guy or they had posted it. It's on a TT post. But it's about time we took some smart pills or something. You know, instead of Ozempic, why don't they invent a smart pill? Really, it's coming down to this. The elections were probably more on this. But it's no longer Democrats versus Republicans. It's America versus communism. And no truer words have ever been spoken. America must win. We can't have any sort semblance of the life most of us live if we keep going down this stupidity battle. Democrat Angus King, one of the 8 senators who pushed the government shutdown over the line, and this was all over making not your health care. Bernie and all the crew are lying to you. Schumer, Jeffries. The money for the subsidies goes to the insurance companies, not to the hospital it's taking care of, not to you, to the insurance, to the evil insurance companies. Those rich, evil white boys that run the insurance companies. So here's Angus King.
It's going to happen. So how do you explain though to your constituents why it was worth it to put up the fight for so long when in the end you did not get your key demand?
Because
It wasn't working. How long?
It's as simple as that. Filibuster. I told you the filibuster would end when the Democrats stopped fundraising off of the Schumer shutdown. And that's pretty much what it was, because it was never going to work. It might have worked against George W. Bush or Poppy Bush or Clinton or Obama or addled Joe Biden. But that wasn't going to work against Trump, and they knew it. So they were just playing ass-eating games. Here's more from the burn. Here we go.
Covering every man, woman, and child. We are unique in that respect. And yet tonight, what this Senate is about to do is make a horrific situation even worse. So let's be clear what this vote is about. If this vote succeeds, over 20 million Americans are going to see at least a doubling in their premiums in the Affordable Care Act.
He said it's a complete and utter failure, a mess. Healthcare run by the government. So let's have more of it. And those premiums he's talking about, again, those subsidies were going to the insurance companies to jack the price of your health care through the moon. You know, guys like B.S. Byrne and the crew have sold you out for slices of a penny for the amount of money that they're giving to these others to keep them in office. Make sure you pay very carefully to this one. And this is Bernie Sanders's idea of single payer. Government runs everything, provides everything. Healthcare is a human right. Listen very carefully to the burn.
All that I want to do is expand Medicare over a 4-year period to cover every man, woman, and child in this country. But
To cover every man, woman, and child in this country. Think about what that means. He didn't say every citizen of the United States. He said every man, woman, child in the United States. And remember where this started. Gavin Newsom got the California budget upside down. Oh, we're going to provide health care at no cost to them. We are going to push the cost up the stupid taxpayers of California for health care for illegals, for those in the country unlawfully and illegally, which are not supposed to be a burden to anyone in the United States. Said, oh, it's only going to cost $6 billion. Oh, it's 12 to 12 billion. And we got a, what, $15 billion deficit in good times. Healthcare, listen carefully. The Burns said healthcare for everyone in the United States. No questions asked. Where did this start? California. Do not let the cancer of California spread across the rest of the nation. I don't know how many times we have to say that, but we will keep saying it until it's true. Because it's true. And we must unequivocally get our S together. 26 is going to be, an off year. Trump needs to start first thing, and I still say this, Trump needs to release the Epstein files. There's a lot of people that are completely pissed off. They were promised they would be released. They haven't got them. And rightfully so. I'm one of them. But there's a lot of challenges. We're going to be going through the same stuff with the shutdown and the budget and everything in 2 months. This is just a 2-month reprieve till after Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then
30 seconds.
Sean said we'll be joining the Mighty Met KMET, Mighty Met 1490, here in a few seconds. And we'll pick up on some of this and the others and show you how to balance the budget in less than 30 seconds. The federal budget, it's not that complicated. It's not nearly, don't let them.
Here we go, 10 seconds.
Don't let them run their America. PatriotSwitch.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Our music that comes on every Monday through Friday live, 5:30 in the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the Formative AM band. Join your vast video audience in the UFB Network, Rumble, X, YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, do all that good stuff on that. Of course, check it out. If you didn't check out on that in the first half hour of the show, check out the brain surgeon who decided he, with his big tractor trailer truck. Now, if he was doing it against a Toyota Camry, I could see that. He was playing, I don't know what he was doing. If he was playing chicken with the train or whatever, look and see how that turned out for him. I mean, again, with all this stuff, in anything, do not underestimate the stupidity level of your fellow man. Of course, the government shutdown appears to be over. I mean, it was a victory for Trump, and that the Dems caved. Angus King, the senator, said, yes, well, I said, well, it wasn't working. Despite all the fake polls and the fake news and all that. I wish they would have kept it shut down. They still could have done essential services. They could have paid the air traffic controllers if they wanted to. They gave back some of the firings, which I wasn't necessarily happy to, but that's water under the bridge. It's day over. We're good. Again, we're going to go through this stuff in another 2 years. Or, 2 months. Well, in another 2 years, too. But, and don't let these cats fool you. This is what, and you can balance the budget in 60 seconds, and I will show you how. Just before COVID, the year before, the 2019 budget, total expenditures in the U.S., $4.4 billion. Today, we are almost 50% more, 6.8. But look at that. The next year, COVID came out 6.5, 6.8, 6.3, 6.1, 6.8, 6.8. We've increased the budget 50% from the baseline before we started COVID. And we're running $2 trillion deficits. Now, we're only in 2024, which I couldn't find the the budget numbers for that, but they got to be pretty close. Let's round it up, $5 trillion. So it was 4.9 in 24. We were taking in today $4.9 trillion. If our expenses, inflation adjusted, would be almost exactly the same. If we would have kept spending levels at 2019 levels, if we were spending that just what we did 5, 6 years ago before COVID, we would have a balanced budget today. Or give or take 100 billion. And when you're talking trillions, what's 100 billion? So and like I said, this goes to Rand Paul's penny plan. He touted this before and that said all you have to do is cut 1 penny, 1% per year, and in 5 years you'll balance the budget because the revenue growth will finally outpace inflation. But this is what inflation and the COVID con and everything did to you. They're putting you further in the hole. They're increasing the deficit. Where did all this money go? Where COVID's gone. I could see, okay, say 2020. $2 trillion jump in the budget. You know, the COVID shots and ventilators and the stimulus checks and $2 billion in masks Newsom's gave to Chinese and the whole rigmarole. $30 billion in unemployment fraud. $30 billion Newsom doled out from California. Those are $2 trillion dollar hit. And we maintain that. This is what Musk was talking about. We could cut $2 trillion out of the Doge, with Doge. Basically, even all we've got to do is go to, this is not rocket science. All we got to do to go back to 5, 6 years ago, pre-COVID spending levels, and we've cut $2 trillion out of the budget. Hence, we got a balanced budget. We're not doing all the COVID stuff and all that. So, but the spending is increased. That's what ARPA, the Inflation Reduction Act, which was nothing. They just shifted the spending to all these social whatever buy off, get up to the programs or pay off the rich or whatever it is. Where are the savings we come? Because now we're no longer, it's been 3 years since the COVID crisis. We're done with that. But the budget, and we're still spending that $2 extra trillion. And again, if you inflate the economy or natural growth of the economy, which we really should be, natural production will outstrip even if your deficit spending like this. Very quickly. Cut 1% per year for 4 years and you got a balanced budget. Just go back like Musk said. And that's basically what the whole Doge thing was about and why he said we could cut $2 trillion. Well, just go back to what we were spending in 2019 and you're there. Plus, you could even of the inflation rate in there, if you take half of it, which is about 27%, if you take the 4.4 trillion and add 12%, you're right in there what we're getting today, around $5 trillion. You got a balanced budget. You could still increase at half the rate of inflation in 6 years and still be at a balanced budget. based on, and that's what I say. Here, yeah, there's good because of the cost increases. There's going to be some cuts, but they'll naturally be cuts, and you'll make them over time, and they will be easy if you had the will to do it. If no, if we and stop, please stop blaming everyone else. It's us. We elect the politicians that are doing this to us. We do not accept that. We don't say everybody's bitching and moaning about this. Oh, grandma ain't getting this or that. No, this ain't getting paid. Well, then you come up to me where you ask them, well, what would you do? Again, I said, we need, and one of the things Trump has done is increase military spending, which we need to cut. Defense spending, yes. Military spending, no. Military spending includes all the foreign wars and everything else. Defense spending is a constitutional and only lawful purpose of spending defense money for. And that's to defend the United States against enemies, foreign and domestic. And if we did that, we could cut about $300 million out of the military budget. Notice that's why they changed the name from defense spending to military spending. Because if we were at defense spending, they're almost at $1 trillion. I'm saying we could defend the United States on half that. $500 billion, 600 at tops. So there's 400 billion you could cut off the budget right now. One shot, one department. Reforming healthcare, putting it back into the private sector, even Medicare, streamlining it, getting these third parties out of it, which are they're just parasites sucking the money dry. You can see at the cost. Bernie Sanders is telling you that, not me. I am too. Bernie Sanders, well, let me put it this way. Bernie Sanders is agreeing finally with me. And what we predicted back in the day, and remember, Trump tried to repeal Obamacare and McCain killed it in his first term in 17? Just don't buy the lie. Can we start there? Everybody, we're not buying the BS. Not from Gavin Newsom, not from Hakeem Jeffries, not from John Thune, not even from Trump. Get in there this time and start cutting the budget. Substantial cuts. At a minimum, the 26 budget, they should cut a minimum of $1 trillion. Should get Elon back on the phone, get over there, stir up those Doge. He was doing the PR. Trump's popularity was going crazy when Elon was posting on X all the time and making that, and yeah, we're doing the cuts, and everybody's going, yeah. Get Elon back. It doesn't have to be full time or in the White House all the time. Get him back on. See, whatever it is, put $1 trillion worth of cuts on the table where they're at, and that's where our baseline's going to be. We're empowering the Doge boys, and let's get it on. But these things are just humongously simple. Humongously simple. We had the whole CBS. Remember Kamala Harris did the interview, and CBS cut and spliced her answers because the word solicitor in chief, even if she is trying to answer a question logically, it's impossible for her. So they cut and splice and this and that, trying to get in. Thank our lucky stars. Whomever, Jesus, God, the devil, I don't care. Thank God we did not get Kamala Harris. But they did the same thing. The BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, biggest broadcaster in the world. Dr. Trump's tape on the J6 back in 2020, try and look like he started the insurrection. Here's gbnnews.com, more of that story that we had on the intro. Here we go.
Well, that criticism of the BBC and John Sopel, who was talking to there, apparently was well-founded, because the so-called impartial and accurate public service broadcaster is nothing but.
Stay categorically. You are fake news. Sir, go ahead. Can you stay categorically that nobody? No, Mr. President.
Because tonight the BBC is facing serious questions over its credibility after the Daily Telegraph exposed a panorama segment that heavily doctored a speech by the American president in 2021, hours before the infamous January the 6th Capitol riot. You're about to hear the corporation spliced together two quotes 1 hour apart to make it seem like he encouraged an insurrection.
They've played the following clip.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you. And we fight. We fight like hell.
So there you go. Oh, we're going to walk down to the Capitol and we're going to fight like hell. Well, if you would have just heard that, you said, well, dang, Trump started that whole thing. Now, this is what Trump really said.
But Trump didn't, in fact, say this at all. The BBC spliced together two clips that took place 54 minutes apart. So let's go through it again.
So they spliced two tapes. He said one part of it one way, one time. An hour later, he said something else.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
Now, see there,
Notice there's an I will fight. That's not there.
between Capitol and that's a cut. Here's what Trump actually said.
Walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
We're going to cheer. No, I'm going to fight and be with you. That was said an hour off. Said, we're going to go down and encourage our brave senators and congressmen. Yada, yada, yada. Trump now said, and a couple, they're trying to buy it. They're trying to buy it off. Oh, a couple BBC executives are resigning and that. And Trump needs to get back to more like that. He needs to get more back at, hey, he needs to get the fake news stuff going back on. Confront these guys. That's what the people elected Trump. That was Trump. Whatever, Susie Wiles or whoever's putting the reins on Trump needs to go. They're killing this country. And we're not going to frickin' stand for it. Trump said, hey, if they don't issue a retraction, an apology, and mea culpa, I'm suing them for $1 billion. And I hope the hell he does. So be like the Thomases with Mayor Baby Jesus over here in Marina Valley. Now we, the taxpayers, because we got a corrupt ass politician, cost us $2 million frickin' dollars. And I'm going to say, and please come in here, Ulysses. Tell me you weren't running a political persecution against the Thomases. I want you to look me in the eye and look this audience and look everybody in Moreno Valley eye and deny it. Because I bet you do not have enough guts to do it. Because you're a chicken bleep little crap like these little media fake news and everybody else is running around. You know what? Stick it where the sun don't frickin' shine. And Trump needs to get more back to that. That's what we, the MAGA, American First people, elected you to do. So let's get with the freaking program all the way around. Why you need to bring Elon back, and another thing is, it was somebody else who posted, I forgot, but we'll see if we can find who it was, but he reposted it. Thought it was pretty cute myself. And factually, we have fact-checked this and found out that this was 100% accurate. A-holes per capita in industry today. As you can see, politics are number one on the triangle by boatload. The media is second. And I will agree, most of my colleagues in the media are complete a-holes. Some people probably think I am too, so hey, whatever. Academia, finance, business, tech are down at the bottom. Now, I'm sure that's one reason why he posted that, because he's obviously the tech guru and slated to become the first trillionaire. But that says it all right there. And we got to quit electing a-holes to our politics. We got to weed out the a-holes in our media. And that even means the ones that are posting on social media and this and just trying to stir up crap. You know, if you're a good comedian or something, go do that or whatever. When you're coming to the politics, that affects everyone's lives. And if you're stirring up ish in that's going to cause that just because you're going to make a few bucks, you're a very odious person. And I'm trying to be nice again, which in most cases is very difficult for me. But that's some of the things that we really need to clamp down on. I think this is the main reason why the filibuster's going out. Or I mean, why the 8? And I really believe Chuck Schumer got him in there. Because they did not want the nuclear option in the filibuster, because they'd have been SOL. The Dems would have had no power in 26. And they know the budget's coming up and they got to save it. But look at how disingenuous they are. And this is why politicians are at the top of the a-hole chart. Here we go.
We'd like to get rid of filibuster, or we're going to have to use some of the process.
But I don't know. I don't know. I happen to think that at the end of the day, we have to end the filibuster.
It's time to end the filibuster. It's time to end the filibuster.
I believe that he should forcefully come out in ending the filibuster of the United States Senate.
It goes on. Well, why don't we do it? Again, they're playing politics. They got those 8 to go up there. Schumer did. Because he knew he'd be SOL in 26. They would have absolutely no power to stop practically anything. Actually, cuts would have probably been much deeper if they would end the filibuster, and they probably should do it. Because I'm in agreement. When the rats get in power, if they do in 26, if they take over the Senate, their first course of action would be to dump the filibuster. Because they play for keeps. And it's about time the center-right, freedom and liberty types Republicans start doing the same. Take no prisoners. Let her rip. We'll get into this maybe a little bit more tomorrow. But the fact that we're even here, Olympics to ban trannies from female sports, finding scientific evidence, males have an advantage. No. Holy cow. Purdue Councilwoman Treasurer Ortiz claims police chief intimidated her in a lawsuit she filed. Bus overturns in Running Springs, injures 30. Again, it's no longer Republicans versus Democrats. It's America versus communism, and that's a battle America must win. Of course, the rats caved of that on the government shutdown. Dude crashes his paraglider into a tree in Paris. That happened on Friday. Of that, they had to lift and rescue him out. It's a good job. Fire department jailbound foot pursuit nets a robbery arrest in San Bernardino. So good job, Purdue cops. Teen arrested in that fatal shooting of another teen in Harupa Valley. Sad news there, of course. He destroyed California. Please elect him. Please elect him president in 2028. If we do this, we the people deserve exactly what we get. Man, oh man, what a deal. I'm sure we'll try to get to the vagrant deal up and that and how the hypocrisy goes on that tomorrow. Hopefully we'll include that in there and much, much more. Because I'm sure it'll be, well, maybe not. Maybe we'll have to because it'll be a slow day. I'm sure on Tuesday. Ha ha ha. It's always fun though. We'll bring it to you live and in living color. Take it away, Sean.
All right, Roy. Well, too bad no Dr. Kelly this week, but
Yep.
That sucks.
Yeah, but the anticipation will be for next week. See how much more you'll appreciate it next week.
Yeah. All right, Roy. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Got it.